Hi, this is Shuri with a review of a Pro Specs Classic Marathon Runner. As the name is written here, it's called Marathon 220. This was actually worn by a marathoner named Dave. I forgot his surname, it was kind of long. He did some cross-country running and apparently was something very inspirational. And he wore this particular shoe to get the job done. And I don't know how much of a true to the original retro it is, but this particular version, the midsole is crazy. Can you see how soft it is? It's like freaking Tai Chi foam you get from Peak. It feels like fluffier cloud foam, fluffier React foam. So it feels very similar to what you get from the Nike Dim 6, where it's really super soft. But of course, you will this will eventually bottom out, and this bottoms out quickly once you put your foot in. It compresses immediately, so it's not exactly great for shock absorption, but for casual walking or strolling or light jog, I think this is still really good compared to some of the other models out there. It looks a lot like the Cortez, but in the 70s and 80s, all shoes more or less look the same, but the Cortez has a very thick outsole and the cushioning is very minimal here, just a slight phylon and some EVA there. As for the Marathon 220, the whole chunk, this whole midsole is like some type of an advanced, I don't know what it is, but the density, the fluffiness, it's awesome. And one more thing to note is that the heel is pretty much straight, aligned with the midsole and the outsole. But for the Marathon 220, like the sprint frame used in the Crazy Light 3s, it's cut here and the heel is protruding out a little bit, so it provides a faster, more smoother first step as you're striking with the heel. And the midsole itself is thick enough to provide adequate shock absorption. For size 9, it weighs about 327 grams. Because of the upper material that's used, it's kind of suede-y, leathery material. It's definitely slightly feels, and it is heavier than the Cortez, which is cheap vinyl type of a plastic upper material, which is very lightweight. Also, this is really good for cold weather, I think, because other than this leathery, suede upper out external layer, there's an inner layer that's sort of like spongy, additional nylon material, so it's pretty thick and warm inside. It fits true to size. If you have very, very narrow fit and you like a tight fit, you might want to go down half a size. The upper material is, yeah, it pretty much gets the job done, provides a certain level of room for expansion, at the same time good lockdown. This logo it looks like a Nike ripoff, but then what logo doesn't, right? This is actually supposed to show the profile of a bird in flight, and then they changed it a little bit to make it look like this. So this is supposed to be the beak and the head and the wing and the tail. They could do a better job of refining it, the logo, a little bit, so that it's less confusing and it does not overlap with Nike or other typical logos that we see out there. The midsole, incredible. I can't emphasize that enough. And also the insole itself, it's a fluffy ortholite type of material, but it feels like a cross between ortholite and some amount of PU material mixed into it, sort of like the Under Armour insole that I always give heaps of praise to. So together, the cushioning is excellent. At least for light stroll, not for shock absorptions or side-to-side aggressive movements, because this is so spongy and there are no support materials. You might feel a little bit insecure when you're landing, striking, not forward to backward, but some tilting side-to-side movement. If you're a pronator, whether it's under or over, this is something you might want to skip because it's so soft and unstable on the sides. There's a heel cup there to provide additional adequate lockdown, but nothing spectacular. And there's a classic strobo board, which is like a thick piece of paper in between. But even with that piece of thick paper, you feel the cushioning of the midsole, and the insole works harmoniously in tandem to provide a smooth ride. The outsole pattern is something you've seen before, sort of like what you see in the Ultra Boost, which is a Ultra Boost outsole. I think is really lazy and crappy. They wear out quickly, and it's just overall lazy. But this will be a better version of that. The spikes are thick, round, and protruding. At the same time, it's reinforced with a little bit of a triangular edges on the 3 sides, and it's spaced adequately enough to provide that traction and grip that you need, and let the mud or whatever impurities flow out instead of having something that's too close together. So overall, this is a pretty impressive shoe considering that it was designed decades ago, in the past century. I wish Pro Specs would use this foam material in other future running shoes or cross trainers or basketball, because this is so fantastic. If they can control the density to provide this fluffy Tai Chi like foam, the sky's the limit. Let's do it. Let's do something with it.